drug dealing industry in corporate America work exactly the same. And this is a very intriguing topic when I was reading the book Freakonomics. A rogue economist explores the hidden side of everything. So one second. So Freakonomics book, chapter 3, it's in chapter 3. Drug dealers living at home with their moms. So that's kind of the play. What people don't understand is, a lot of drug dealers still have to live at home with their moms. And you were thinking, oh, well, don't they make a lot of money? Well, of course, the top ones make a lot of money. The foot soldiers, not so much. So ultimately, being a low level drug dealer does not pay the bills. And so on page 96 of the book, Stephen explains, so how did the gangs work? An awful lot like most American businesses. Actually, though, perhaps none more so than McDonald's. In fact, if you were to hold McDonald's organizational chart to a Black Disciples organization chart side by side, you could hardly tell the difference. And now, for a synopsis of who the Black Disciples are, so there was a journalist that stayed with the Black Disciples, one of the top gangs in Chicago back in the day. I think it was the 70s and 80s when crack cocaine was at its peak. And for 6 years, he would go to and from the projects and stay with the leader of the gang, the soldiers of the gang, and just learn the ins and outs of the process. And within like the 5th year, one of the top generals got caught up in some stuff, and he was eventually about to get killed. So he actually gave the journalist um, all like the financial papers from like the last 5 years. They were taking account of that, the top guy, because the leader of the Black Disciples gang at that one point, he was actually college educated. He actually had a corporate job in corporate America, and he was doing really well. He made good money. He was smart, but being a black man in America, he just didn't really fit in per se. So he was like, you know what? I'm just going to go back to the hood and sell drugs. Unfortunately, but how he operated was, very corporate like. And then the Gematria tells the tape. Corporate America and work dealing drugs both equal 80 in reduction. So you see that connection right there. Corporate America, work dealing drugs. Then we have all businesses operate all the same, and corporate drug dealing and black market, they both equal 333 in English ordinal. And so you're seeing the powerful energy, nothing new under the sun. McDonald's is selling a different version of drugs to the audience, but it goes larger than McDonald's. It can go to any business. Right? It's just a product. It's a product that you have to market. And we have foot soldiers, always underpaid, 330 English ordinal. Promoted from being a foot soldier, dealing a drug is similar to fast food. Drug dealing and McDonald's, same business, that all equals 333 in English ordinal. We have elevating from foot soldier's job. So the goal of a foot soldier is to elevate his rank. And in every business, conflict messes up the money. And so that's kind of like the catch-22 with the business world and in the drug dealing world of business. The higher you get up, the more you realize it's the money that's important. And if you have conflict with other people, it messes up the money and it messes up everything else you got going on. But the catch-22 is if this foot soldier is staying at home with his mom because he's only getting, pennies to the dollar to what the top dogs are doing, he's going to have to put in some work. So how does a foot soldier elevate himself? Well, he has to take jobs where, he might have to do a couple hits. He might have to move a couple more drugs and things like that. So he might have to take out the top guy. That's just part of the game. And that's why the CEOs and the lieutenants and generals, they don't want to give up their money because they know at any moment it can be done. And that's the same mentality corporate American workers have because it's a dog-eat-dog world. If you don't get it, if you don't do it, somebody else is going to get it on your behalf. So that's something to keep in mind if you work in the business world. If you try to analyze businesses, it's all the same. Doesn't matter what the business is. But we have some more decodes. We have cocaine equaling 50, crack cocaine equaling 50 in English reduction, and U.S. commodity equaling 50 in reduction as well. And I think that's a very powerful decode because unfortunately, USA has used drugs as a commodity. Unfortunately, with the CIA bringing it in. I don't if you've never seen the show Snowfall on FX, great show. Definitely something to check out. But it was the CIA pumping the crack cocaine in the system to not only raise money for the wars America shouldn't have been in, but also to formulate society a specific way to put less privileges in the black community and the more lower income communities to keep them impoverished. And that's what the government has used drugs as a commodity to control. And going further, again, back to these 333s, like they're just popping out. They should it shouldn't be too hard to see. Freeway Rick. Freeway Rick, if you don't know who he is one of the top cocaine drug dealers, one of the most famous in American history, back in LA in the 70s. Rick Ross, the rapper, named himself after Freeway Rick, Rick Ross. And the CIA essentially supplied him drugs so he could supply it to the community and get rich. But look at this decode. Freeway Rick, a CIA regional manager of coke, because he only carried around for the LA area. He only he oversaw the LA area. There were other Freeway Ricks all across America. It wasn't just in LA. So in a sense, he was just a top regional manager because he controlled one of the bigger sections of the grander scheme business, and you see it in the decode, right? And for the next one, we're implementing the rule of Colell with that one digit plus minus that you're allowed. Franklin Saint. Now, Franklin Saint was a fictional character in the show Snowfall, but he worked with the CIA, and so Franklin Saint was CIA's cocaine manager. 332 English ordinal. We're really close to 333. Very powerful decodes. It's a book I suggest you get and read. It's not really an economics book where it's just a lot of boring stats, numbers. It goes through a lot of different topics and scenarios that we normally don't talk about as society. I don't want to give away too much of the book, but another topic they talk about, two. I did one on sumo wrestling being rigged. I did a video on that, but another one is saying that whether you agree with abortion or not, the economists in the book should break down with good data points and cases that when Roe versus Wade came into effect, it actually lessened the crime rate in America. But it wasn't seen until the 1990s because Roe versus Wade was in the 1970s. Now that time difference was because the usual people that normally get abortions, the mothers usually understand that they might not be able to take care of that kid for whatever reason. And usually when you bring in impoverished kids, you bring in kids into impoverished situations, or their mother has resentment for maybe not wanting the kid, it provides a toxic situation growing up in a nurturing scenario, which usually means the kid becomes more crime affiliated and whatnot. That's just what the stats say. So in the book, it breaks down that when the abortion Roe versus Wade happened, that's why there was a significant drop in crime in America in the 1990s. Just because there was almost a lost generation of criminals being born out of Roe versus Wade. So it's just very interesting topics. It goes into the elections as well. Highly recommend that book.